Hi, in this small tutorial I want to talk about programming and writing code, and actually what is so special about programming languages and using code to create software and apps and all these digital tools. Up till the point where programming language were created or computer were created, every time that we have any machine that does anything, like in a factory, a machine that say for example manufactures screws. So every time we had a machine, it has its own process, and the process was always the same, like taking the material, heating it, processing it, creating it in a simple way, packaging it. It always had the same process and the same steps. Now, what the computer and the whole idea of programming language made different is it's changed the process in a way that the process didn't have to be linear. It didn't have to be step by step doing the same thing over and over again, each time exactly the same. So we actually added the ability to do something different. Okay, so for me, this is the really basic principle of computer programming and coding languages, and building an app or an algorithm to do something different. So I want to talk about just three simple things that for me are the basic stones, the basic parts of what programming is and what it enables us. So let's say, for example, that we have we have like this program, and this program does something really simple. And this is actual code of program that is used a lot when teaching any kind of programming language. It's called Hello World. So let's just say that we have this code that does this. It just writes on the screen, Hello World. So, as I said, we have a program, for example, that says Hello World. Now this is nice, but maybe we want to give the user another message. Okay, so maybe we want to, instead of Hello World, we want it one time to say, for example, Hello Tom, and maybe Hello Alice. Okay, so we want to do it in a different way. So there is this concept, and this is the first concept I'm going to talk about in computer programs, which is variable, which is we also know it from math. So what is a variable? You can think of variable of like a type of box that there is something inside it. Now, what can we have inside it? We can have a string, for example, the text and Tom, right? So this is the name that interests us, and let me just do it a bit bigger. Okay, so this can be Tom. Okay, a box with this. We can have another variable, which maybe will be Tom's age, and maybe it will be a number like 32. And maybe we can have other things like a float number, okay, 3.14, which is pi. Or maybe we can have, let me show you another kind of basic type of variable, which is actually, it can be, let's say it's false. So this kind of variable, it's like, it's very important. It's called Boolean, and it's either true or false, yes or no. And this is basically an answer for a question, which the answer can be either true or false, yes or no. So an answer for a yes or no question. And we can use it for a lot of things. But let's get back to what we're talking about. So if we have a variable that has the string Tom, then I'll get hello Tom, and maybe if it will have hello Alice, then the message we will get is hello Alice. So, and this is the way that variables can affect a program. So the output, of course, is changed according to what we put in the variable, right? And this is a very simple way, because we haven't really changed anything. We just took this string, this name, Alice, and put it inside the string. Okay? So this is just one way to use variable. But this is still very basic and very linear. It's like if we talked about earlier about the machine that creates screws. So if we put this kind of metal or another kind of metal, we can think about it in the process. We can think about it as variable. But the thing is, the machine will still always do the same, right? It's according to this variable. It would just work it will take this part and put it inside, but it doesn't really change the way the machine works. Now, once we do it, we actually build the machine. Now, we want to do something that we wouldn't have to change the machine itself to get a different result, right? And let's say we want to do something a bit different. For example, if the user that is logging in, if it's his first time, or maybe he's been there before. Okay, so maybe we want to do hello Tom, okay, or hello the name. Okay, if he's been here before, and maybe something else for a situation where he's coming back. So welcome back, Tom. Okay, so this is a different message. Now, how would we know? We can know whether this is his first visit or maybe he's been visiting before. So how would we do that? So what I'm going to show you now is like the second principle that's important for programming, and this is the condition. Because condition is actually the ability to choose to do one thing in one situation and another thing in another situation. So let's talk about, so we have hello Tom or welcome back Tom, and we want to know when to give this message and when to give this message. So maybe we'll start, this is like representing the starting point. Okay, so we start here and then we want to know which message to do. So we have a choice. So to do a choice, this is the way we do it, to design the process. So this is like a question, okay, and the question here, okay, is it a returning user? Which basically asks whether this user has been here before or not. So let me just scale down the font. Okay, so is it a returning user? And if it's a returning user, we want to give it a returning user message. Okay, so we have a hello Tom and we have a welcome back. So let me just change it a bit. This will represent welcome back. And the other one will be for the first time. Let's maybe do a nice to meet you. So is it a returning user? So if it does, so I'll take an arrow from here to here. I'll put like that. And then we'll just change it to a straight line and give it a text. Okay, so the text will be, yes, as we said, this is a yes or no question, right? So if it's a yes or no question, the answer can be yes. And if it's yes, we're giving the message welcome back. Now, if it's not, okay, and you can guess, it will do something like this. So if the answer is no, okay, and then the message will be nice to meet you, because we're showing him the message for the first time. So this is an if statement, okay, and this if statement is a condition, and when we ask the question of the condition, we can decide whether we do one thing or another thing. So this is the second really basic principle of programming. We had the use of variables. We had variable, and then we had condition, right? And this is the really too basic, because condition let us do a different, actually have a different outcome for a different state. So what's the difference? What's the difference with this kind of condition and the machine that, you know, we change the metal we use and we get different screws. So the difference actually, this machine of the message, it doesn't have to change. Okay, it doesn't have to change. I'm just going to tell it, okay, it's a returning user. It will know in some way that this is a return user, and it will act differently. And if it's not a return user, it will show the nice to meet you message. Now, we wouldn't change anything in the machine to get different results. So this is the equivalent of creating a machine that creates screws, and according to a state of a handle, for example, if a handle like that or like this, we will tell it, okay, now you create a screwdriver from iron, and now you create screw from iron, and now you create screw from gold. Okay, so that's what's beautiful about this whole concept of programming of computer. They can change the decision, do something completely different, but we haven't changed the basic code, the basic program. So we had the two principles. We talked about variables and we talked about conditions. Now, there are a lot of other principles, but I want to talk about the basics, and I'm missing just one more. And the one more is loops. Why loops? Because And this condition, for example, we have to do it, we do it one time, we go either to the yes or to the no branch, and we like continue and finish, right? But what about if we have to do something again and again and again and again? Okay, so let's say I want to create a program that would count numbers. So I want to count, let's say for now, from 1 to 10. Okay, so let's do it. So this I, the number I, is equal to 1. Okay, so it's the same we said before as we have there. And this box, not this one, this box that holds the number 1. And this box is actually, the name of this box is like I. So let me just put the text here. So this is I, okay, and I, okay, I like pointing to this box. So I point to this box, and this box has the value of 1. Okay, and it has the value of 1 because of this command. We told it put the value 1 there. Now we want to count till 10. Okay, so I'll do it like this. So let's say we have I equals 1, and then we ask the question, is I, this is like smaller, let me write down. You know what, is I smaller than 10? So does I smaller than 10? Is I, does I smaller than 10, sorry. So does I smaller than 10? This is a great question. So if yes, then let's do just the command here, like print I. Okay, so I'll do here print I. Now I want to continue, right? So after printing I, I'll do something like this. So we have print I, and I'll write it like this. So change I to be I plus 1. Okay, so if I was 1 here, then it will turn for 2. Okay, so print I. Now we want to continue and print the number, so we'll just go from here and go back to the questions. Okay, and this is actually the loop, okay, because we're going back. Okay, so condition, we're going back to the loop, and so we'll continue. And if it's not I, then let me just finish. And finish, many times we mark it when we create this kind of sketches like this. Okay, so we'll put this small circle, and we paint it with black. Okay, now of course you don't need to remember all this. I'm just showing you the basic principles. Okay, so we're in loop here. So let's see what happens. So we have here, I got the value of 1, and we go here, we print the I. So let me just show it like here, and maybe even give it a different color. It will be obvious. So here we just printed 1, right? Okay, so we have here 1, and here is I changing. So I change here from 1. Okay, it changes after 1 because we added a 1 to I. Then next it will be 2, right? So once it got to 2, it's going back there, and we ask again, does I is smaller than 10? And 2 is smaller than 10. We go for yes. We print I, and we'll have here 2. Okay, now it goes, it prints 2, and then it changes to 3, right? And then it continues, so we'll go on, and eventually we'll get to the number 10. Now here, things will act differently, because once this is 10, okay, and it changed here from 10, it changed from 9, it got 9 plus 1, so I will now get the value of 10, and go back here, and then it asks, does I smaller than 10? But of course 10 is not smaller than 10, so the answer is no, and then we'll finish. So the output will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And this is loop. Now, the advantage of loop that we have to do it, we write a loop one time, and it can happen many, many times. Now, this is really all the basics principle of programming. There are a lot of other things to learn, but we have variable, we have conditions, and we have loops. Okay, so let me just show you a bit of something that can change this loops. I is equal to 1, and maybe we'll add now a num is equal to, and instead of 10 I'll do it 100. Okay, and this will be the next step. So we can have I equals 1, then we go to num equals 100, and then we go to the question. And the question will change because we don't want to check if does I smaller than 10, but we want to check does I smaller than num. Okay, so now we'll have about the same behavior, but we'll continue till 100. And the beautiful thing about this, that we can change the number and we can change the whole way this program works, but we haven't actually changed the program. Okay, we can, for example, we can ask the user, what do you want to put in num, or even what do you want to put in I. Maybe we want to start from 20. Okay, maybe we want to change here that it will be increased not by 1 but maybe by 3. And this all these changes are things that we can change and create through programming. So again, we have 3 principles. So in the basic principle of programming were using variables, using if conditions, and using loops. And this is really it, because it's really simple, but it enables so many things and so much flexibility. So again, we talked about 3 principles. So we have variables, we have condition, and we have loops. Now we can think of them in another way. Variables enable us to save information. Okay, the variables is what enable us to remember and knowing something. This it can change, like the use of I to change the numbers. So this is what's a variable about. It's about retaining information and using it. And the next thing to be able to create is to make a decision, okay, to alter the way the program is working. For that we have the if, the condition. And the last thing is the loops. Now the loops, it's all about repeating things and save time. Because, like giving the command like print 1, print 2, print 3, print 12, till 100, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of lines, and doesn't help us that much. What we can do this loop, it will be a few lines, and it can print numbers from 1 to 10, or 1 to 100, or 1 to 10,000, and it can also do that the other way around, or start from 100 or 200 and go by steps of 2 or 3 or whatever. And this whole flexibility is what programming gives us. Now this is really the basic, and this is what I really like about programming, because using this principle, using this tool, it can kind of enable us to do just about everything. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this tutorial. So last thing, I just want to show you this really basic principle in like a sketch way. So we have variable, we have the if statement, the condition, and we have a loop. And we've seen that the if condition, the condition itself, and the loop are quite similar, because when we have condition, we have a question that answers either true or false, yes or no, and then we do this thing, one thing. In a loop, it's like going back to the same question and advancing. So here we'll have some advancements. For example, we saw that we increase the value of I by 1, and then we check the value of I, but this is how loops looks. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please follow me, and really hope it's been helpful for you. And if this is if you just start to think about, learning programming, I hope this will really help you understand the really basic idea and motivation behind writing code. So thank you very much for joining me. I've been Shefi, and I'll see you next time, I guess. Bye.